Hello my fellow me's, and welcome back to another ranking video, and today we'll be tackling the greatest RPG of all time, Miitopia. This game is amazing. I remember playing it back on the 3DS in 2017, and I've probably done a full playthrough maybe like 5 times. I mean, who doesn't want to embark on a quest to kill the most diabolical, ruthless, almighty Stan? No, but seriously, within this game, there are these little things called jobs. What is a job? It is something that you don't have. Okay, fine, they are actually just weapon classes, but this game calls it jobs for some reason. I always found it weird, but whatever. There are a total of 14 classes, I mean jobs, in Miitopia. And we'll be going through all of them and nitpicking them to see which ones are a godsend and which ones are absolute horsewank. I will say that these are all my opinions and mine shouldn't impact on how you feel. It is all for fun. Thank you. Let us begin. I know what most of us are probably thinking. The worst to you is probably one of these three, and to be honest, you are correct. And to me, I'm going with the princess as being the worst job in this game. I do understand if you don't agree with me, but I put the princess as the lowest because its moveset is pretty lackluster compared to the others. Like, don't get me wrong, it's cool that she can lower enemies' defense, distract them, she can be escorted not to take any damage, and Royal Wave packs a huge punch. But to me, it just seems like their entire moveset is combined with a bunch of other jobs, which isn't a bad thing at all. But another thing is its high magic stat, which is pretty good, but they don't have any moves to really support that either. In fact, only the variants of Royal Wave, they can take advantage of their high magic. I will say though, it is interesting to have one on your team, but one more problem I do have is that the AI is especially inconsistent. Like for example, using debuffs when it could have just died to an attack anyway. I'm sorry princess lovers, but it's the worst. Don't worry flower haters, because it's not far off from being the worst. Although it does have some redeeming qualities like having the most MP out of any healer, which is pretty important, as well as making your Miis angry for more damage. However, its stat spread is just awful. It has a ridiculous amount of HP, but like the princess, not really having the defense to support it. It does fuck all damage, and everything else isn't too impressive. It does get a revive move as early as level 4, which is nice, but the main reason it gets a low ranking because the cleric can do pretty much everything the flower can, but way better. If you think about it, the chef really isn't too much different from the flower. They both focus on healing, but have good tools to deal damage as well. The chef's moveset is primarily healing. Spicy Dish is very good for damage, but can anger your team. What really makes the chef not rank high in my opinion is that unlike the flower or the cleric, the chef can't actually revive anyone. It might not be a huge problem because the healing the chef does provide is very good, even if it does take one turn to prepare. It's risky, but I do think it's worth it. Its stats are pretty well rounded as well. Being able to turn HP bananas and make them more effective is insane as well, especially because the AI likes to use them a lot. And the chef actually gets a one-hit KO move, but even then, so does the cleric. The tank job can be brutal. Like your basic attacks literally cost MP, which isn't good if you're lower level. You might only get a few shots in, and then you just can't attack. It also has 0 base speed, meaning it will always move last no matter what. I do think that's fine though, because it does have incredible defense to support getting hit first. But what I see people not liking about it the most is that because of how reckless it is, it leads to a lot of tension between the team, which hinders your experience and can weigh the team down. But what you gotta understand is that this is not really a problem if you have the right team members. Like if you have a pop star or a cleric, they can just calm the team down. I will say again, the damage output on the tank is insane. Human Cannonball, Hot Shot, and Laser pack a huge punch. And its defensive capabilities are great also. It can block incoming attacks as well as even healing itself over time. You just gotta have the right team if you want to push the tank to the absolute limit. It's actually pretty good. You should try it. The Thief is an interesting one. It has pretty average stats with high speed, so it's most likely always moving first. But the Thief is very good at not dying, like ensnaring, using a sneak attack, or its backflip ability. It can use all those things to easily avoid taking damage, and due to its high speed, can easily strike back. Even very good at hitting multiple enemies at once. If you use a Phantom Strike and have all of your Miis help you, you can hit up to 9 times in one turn. A small thing I don't like is that no matter what move you use, you can never choose which enemy to attack. It will either be all of them or at random, which can be difficult because the player always chooses which enemy for their party to attack. But if you are playing as the thief, you cannot do this. It's not the worst thing in the world, but overall, I feel like the thief deserves a spot like this in the ranking. Not bad, but nothing too special. The imp is one of the more unique jobs out there, using dark magic to take enemies down with its pitchforks. It can also use life and energy drain to recover. It gets access to tinkering with your party by using stuff like Bum Jab, which is essentially just a worse version of Encore, and Charm to hype someone up, as well as Demonic Whispers, which is an insane move. It is a good thing that it has a high magic stat to use its moveset, while surprisingly having good defenses as well. But I do see a certain job being similar, but better in many ways. We'll get to that later. I think most of us can agree that the Cleric has way better healing properties than the Flower and the Chef, as that is what the job is primarily focused on. Not any more of that, extra bullshit. But the Cleric gets a couple of sneaky moves. Righteous Anger can one-hit an enemy.
Be gone, fuck!
And Aura is just all around powerful, but you get that way later. Having a Cleric is pretty much essential for endgame. Being able to revive and heal for extreme amounts of health is just a lifesaver. Literally, not the best, almost fun jobs, but the Cleric is the glue that holds the team together. The Scientist is one of the most fun jobs to use and 100% one of the more versatile options out there. It can deal insanely good damage, heal, protect you, and even make you stronger. It even has the speed to wipe out any enemy straight away. But it does have one glaring weakness, and that being its MP. Not so much the MP itself, but when the Scientist attacks, it absolutely drains MP. Not even just using basic attacks, but the Scientist has a lot of auto skills as well, like Ignite, Safety Mask, and Absorb. Sure, this problem can be solved by eating an MP suite, but still. It also has very low defense, so you might see it get taken out quickly. With all that being said, it seems like the Scientist is a glass cannon, just dealing incredible amounts of damage while keeping others safe, but isn't expected to last very long out there. The Popstar is incredibly underrated in my opinion. They have such a wide range of moves. Earworm to distract enemies, Encore which gives a member another turn, which can be amazing if you use it correctly, Out of Tune for hard damage, they can recover MP and get rid of quarrels. But that's not the best part of it. Smooth moves only cost 1 MP and heals them. It also has an interesting effect where if a teammate tries to help them use smooth moves, then they actually heal as well, instead of just getting more HP. Angelic Voice also has a chance to revive all teammates at once. I'm not kidding, I bet most of you didn't even know the Popstar can revive. But the Chef can't even do that? If you're playing the Popstar, that is good because the AI is pretty bad for some reason, always wanting to use Love Song even though they could have just killed the enemies. But nah, it's all about love in this world. I know a lot of people love the Warrior, and yes, it is very good, but won't be ranked higher than 5. It is pretty slow and has low MP and magic, but the Warrior is mainly focused in attack and defense. And the moves they get are mostly basic, but at least they all look cool. A few good ones like Miracle, Slap, and especially Proud Protector. Not much else to say besides being an absolute unit and surprisingly OP, especially in early game. People may not agree with me on this, but the cat is just absolutely amazing. 2 words, Sharpen Claws. This move does more than double the damage for your next turn, and your other attacking moves, you are able to dish out more damage than anyone else in the game. The cat can also heal itself, recover MP, and still grub or having more options for attacking as well. The stats are good for having low defenses but high speed and attack. The cat is honestly one of those things that you have to use yourself to realize its full potential. It is just amazing. The mage I see as pretty much the magic version of the cat, as in both being fast but specializing in magic rather than attack. The moves they get are pretty standard RPG like fire, lightning, and explosion, but you can unlock better variants of them. The main drawback of the mage is its defenses, but that problem is thrown out the window once it unlocks barrier. It even gets more options than the cat like Enlarge Weapon or Sleep Tight, which is why I ranked it higher. I'm sure we can all universally agree that this is the best job that you unlock at the start of the game. Take everything good I just said about the mage, multiply it by 5, and you end up with the vampire. The vampire is essentially just a better mage. Like Scorching Breath and Bat Tornado do huge amounts of damage. It also has Bite, which dodges damage as well as healing you, as well as Curse, which is basically just thorns. But what sets it apart from the mage is being able to revive itself and others. This can happen anytime at random, but they can even give that power to other party members so they can revive themselves. Having the ability to this means that it is almost impossible to ever lose a fight. It was a big toss-up between number 1, but I went with the elf. Like, dude, the elf is just everything. It has high damaging moves, but its support is what carries the elf hard. Where do I even begin? Dancing Arrow to distract enemies, Healing Melody, Counter Arrow which nullifies an enemy attack by hitting them. They can recover MP to other members. And probably the best thing is Forest Aegis, which is Barrier, except it can be used on anyone, which also makes up for having the lowest HP stat out of everyone. It is also kinda slow, but all this doesn't really matter because versatility goes such a long way in a game like this, and that is why it's the best job in the game. Well guys, that'll be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!